Grammys are this Sunday, as most of you know. And of course, when it comes to the Grammys, a lot of rap fans are very critical because of either the selections or the lack of selections, or if the award is or is not presented on the actual televised broadcast. But nonetheless, we're going to get into the 6 nominees that we have on deck right now, and we're going to predict who will win that, and we're going to say why they'll win that. So on that note, let's get to the nominees. So we have Chance the Rapper for Coloring Book, Drake with Views, DJ Khaled with Major Key, Kanye West, The Life of Pablo, De La Soul and The Anonymous Nobody, and then finally we have Schoolboy Q with Blank Face LP. So,
and that's for Best Rap Album.
Best Rap Album, yes. So of all those 6 albums, which one do you think is coming home with a Gram? And, as a little bonus, which one do you think personally should go home with a Gram? So we'll start off with, who do you think is going to win?
Okay, it's the same thing with what we said with the Patriots and Falcons. I want Chance, but I expect Drake.
Okay.
Because it's Drake and he's a freaking brand and a behemoth juggernaut of a brand that this past freaking years you can't stop.
Yeah.
So I mean and he's already got his 1 Grammy. Mm-hmm. I don't see no and if we're talking singles, pop culture impact, societal impact, however you would like to try to quantify it through whatever criteria, Drake probably had the largest album.
Mm-hmm. It was essentially a pop album, basically.
Essentially. Mm-hmm. I haven't listened to enough of everybody else in that category to give a proper answer, because I think it's only fair to listen to everybody in all the nominations to say who was the most deserving. But
of course.
Out of what I listened to, out of everything you mentioned, personally I'd say Chance. Okay. I'd like Chance in Coloring Book because I very much thoroughly enjoyed Coloring Book.
Okay.
And I've been a fan even since 10 Days to Acid Rain and Acid Rap.
Acid Rap, yeah.
Acid Rain's that track on Acid Rap. Mm-hmm. That song really I thought was dope, and just Acid Rap front to back. That was one of my favorite albums within the last 5 years. Yeah. Or mixtape album, whatever you like to call it. Yeah. And then the follow-up Coloring Book I thought was just phenomenal.
All right. So I'm gonna say this. So as far as who I think is gonna win, it's gotta be Drake, because the man he had 1 billion streams. That's insane.
That number, 1 billion streams.
Yeah, that's unprecedented. And on top of that, like you said, he's a brand. He's a household name. Everyone knows who he is. So I expect him to come home with the Grammy.
That's what I
expect. For that.
Drake is the Patriots, bro.
Basically, yeah.
He's the Patriots.
And as far as who should win, mind you, of all these albums, I've only listened to I've listened to 4 out of the 6 albums that have come out. Mm-hmm. I would say, based on the accomplishments, I'd probably give it to Drake if that's the case. Mind you, I haven't listened to De La Soul's album. I haven't listened to Schoolboy Q's album.
I haven't listened to those either.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to the rap category, the Grammys likes to play it safe as far as who's the biggest name, basically. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to go to Drake, and I think based on the financial success of it, maybe it should go to Drake. Chance would be the next runner-up, I would say, just because Kanye already has enough. Plus, we don't need to hear a rant from him. But I'll say this. I'll say this about Chance, and I think people might look at me sideways when I say this. I think he's a good artist, but I feel like a lot of people overhype him.
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people peg him up as the second coming of a Nas or something,
or Kanye,
of a Kanye or a Kendrick to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like Chance has found his sound just yet, and because of that, I feel like people just need to chill out just a little bit, because Coloring Book, I think it was a very ambitious project, but it
Acid more than Coloring.
Even then, I feel like those 2 projects, I feel like those people were oh, this is the best album of the year, this and that. I listened to both of them, I'm they're good, but they didn't give me that feeling that I was expecting based on all the hype and all the attention that people were giving it. 2013 is when Acid Rap came out, and a lot of people were calling it the mixtape of the year. For me personally, it was King Remembered in Time by Big Crit. That to me was the mixtape of the year for 2013. Okay. And I'm more of an East Coast guy, and everyone knows that. But with Chance, I feel like he's still trying to find a sound. I love his concepts. I love the concepts of all of his projects. His sounds are good. Like, he has a good ear for beats. I just don't like his delivery sometimes. I feel like sometimes
it's a bit.
his
He
delivery's
has
a little
bit of a nasally voice.
Yeah, it's not even like the intonation, but I feel like it's a little off kilter. Sometimes he'll slur his words purposely, but then he'll sound very articulate on another record.
Yeah.
Like the record that he did with Jay Electronica on this album sounded very articulate. But then you listen to a record like Problems with like 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne, he tried to make himself sound a bit more southern. So it's just like
maybe it's catering to the audience or the record. Perhaps.
Maybe. It's a little inconsistent for my liking right now. So I'm waiting to see what he's going to come out with in the future. But I do like the energy he brings out, and I do like his positive messages.
I like the soul feel of it.
I do too, yeah.
And I just like, more so anything, just how it, compared to a lot of the contemporary artists out there today, it is different. Granted, it feels like his music is like the conceptual offspring of what Late Registration and College Dropout
could have been.
Like, as if it's what was next in line from that, or at least you could tell that maybe that was the influence.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely a spawn of that era, basically.
Yeah.
Like how Drake is, like how Wale is.
I feel Drake is more like the direct spawn of 808s and Heartbreaks.
True.
Versus Chance is like more Late Registration.
Yeah.
Dropped off.
No, that's a very good comparison because you listen to 808s and Heartbreaks.
That's a precursor to
you could argue that spawn's So Far Gone.
Well,
basically.
One of the best tracks on So Far Gone, Say What's Real.
Exactly. Ironically enough, was off 808s and Heartbreaks. Yeah, exactly. No, I definitely agree with you on that. When I first listened to Chance, to me, he kind of reminded me of like a remix of Old Dirty Bastard, but with better content, basically. Because his style is so unorthodox. Like, you don't know how to measure it. And like I remember Raekwon said, the reason why we call them Old Dirty Bastards is because there's no father to his style. You could kind of make that similar argument to Chance, even though so many rappers have come out before him and what have you. But still, there's no one really that sounds like Chance right now.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people, because he has himself in his own box, people will automatically say, oh, he's good or he's great or whatever.
It's only him and Anderson .Paak that give me that like funky, like soulful, gospel-y vibe. And I think more so that's it. It's just because I think people want to, as you say, overhype it just because they're excited about something different. And because, especially in today where you have a lot of people who sound similar and a lot of things that are somewhat redundant and repetitive, that the first one that's willing to just say, all right, I'm going to go against the grain or just like be the fork in the road, going against the stream, it's going to get noticed. And I'm not one to judge how good a song is or how bad it is. All I know is just how it makes me feel. And I know that listening to songs, it feels pretty cool. Because you could genuinely feel I guess the level of passion in the music. And with any artist or any music that I listen to that really resonates with me, do I feel the emotion and passion of the artist really being portrayed in the song and in that composition? Does it imbue me with all the emotions and feelings that you had while composing that?
Yeah.
Is it palpable for me as well?
Yeah.
And I feel like he does a good job conveying some of those things versus a lot of other rappers I hear today. Honestly, like even today, like currently, I don't even listen to much rap these days.
Yeah, I'm very picky about who I listen to.
Like on the way here in the car, I had What's Going On Marvin Gaye playing.
Dude, I was bumping Marvin Gaye last week.
That's
like the whole What's Going On album. I was bumping down the way to Toronto.
That's what I was playing here. Before that, though, it was straight Slipknot and Metallica. So I went from Slipknot and Metallica to Marvin Gaye, What's Going On.
Again, the buffet tray was on fleek.
The buffet was acting wild, man. We were jumping from dish to dish, but it was like. And again, with Chance, what I like about it is because it's different, and ultimately I feel the music when I hear it.
Yeah.
And that's what matters to me. The same way how like I could feel Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, or I feel Slipknot. It doesn't matter what I'm listening to. It just matters how this music makes me feel and what emotions and ideas it imbues me with.
You know what it is for me, man? And like I feel like the feeling that a lot of people get when they listen to Chance, I'm not getting that feeling.
Fair enough.
And I feel like I'm kind of getting left out of the conversation in a sense, because I'm trying to understand what people are feeling as far as like what he's bringing. Like I love the energy, I love the concepts, but just the delivery is what's throwing me off. Because listening to guys like when they first came out, like Kanye, I got that feeling. With Lupe Fiasco, when he first came out with Food and Liquor, I got that feeling.
Yeah.
Even with Wale with his earlier mixtapes, like when he brought in the go-go sound, something that hadn't been heard in hip hop before, and also the concepts and what have you, hadn't gotten that before. But with Chance, I haven't really gotten that feeling, basically.
I think you also got to put into terms
in context of like the landscape of music. Like Chance came out at a time when Chicago's drill scene was real big. So I think that's what helps him be distinguished
Stand
as
out,
well,
yeah.
is because look at all the rappers around him. They're all drill time rappers
Yeah.
who like, and I think that's why people feel him, is just because more so than anything, he's the alternative. And then, like, if you present an alternative, you're immediately going to attract a certain demographic that isn't with the status quo.
Exactly.
Because for argument's sake, let's say the status quo in Chicago is the drill time scene, and then Chance comes in there saying, "Yeah, I'm not going to be part of that drill time scene. I'm going to differentiate myself. I will respect and admire that drill time stuff."
Yeah.
But I'm going to go do my more gospel-y stuff. And I think that's what makes people appreciate that, is the fact that when you come out of Chicago, or what a lot of kids like to call Chirac nowadays, to have something that's so different from everybody else out of Chirac at the moment with their drill music is what makes people maybe appreciate, or as you say, overhype it a little bit. Who knows? But who's to say?
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, listening at home or watching at home, what do y'all think? Hit me up on Twitter at DM_cool or cool_radio to share your thoughts.